Entering into Montreal from the upper St. Lawrence is like slowly unwrapping a gift. While you've been able to catch glimpses of the skyline from Lac St. Louis and the Canal de la Rive-Sud, you cannot fully appreciate the full impact of the port and the city against the backdrop of Mount Royal until you clear the northern tip of Ile Sainte-Hélène with the La Ronde roller coaster dominating the skyline. Using chart 1510, you will see you must round the North Cardinal Buoy ISH before making the turn into Montreal. If you look across the river before turning towards the very busy commercial port, the sweeping incline tower of the 1976 Olympic Stadium is quite prominent behind the container loading cranes. Heading upriver into the old port of Montreal, the current is quite strong as the river rushes down from the Lachine Rapids. The current averages 5 knots and kicks up quite a turmoil as it passes under the Pont Jacques-Cartier. In fact, the water was so rough our cameraman had to abandon the bow and film from the cockpit. To minimize the effect of the current, you should run as close to the starboard side of the river as possible, along the wall and any freighters parked in the vicinity of the bridge. As the commercial wharfs are left behind, the old port of Montreal awaits. Clock Tower Basin, with its readily identifiable historic clock tower, is home to the first marina you will encounter, Yacht Club de Montréal. Make sure to use caution as you approach the basin past the floating breakwalls, as the current is still quite strong. Opened in 2007, this modern facility can accommodate vessels up to 130 feet in length. There are berths for 205 permanent vessels and 40 for longer-term transients. With a depth of 35 feet in the basin, large yachts are no problem. If you've called ahead on VHF Channel 68, the Marina staff will assign you a slip and be on hand to assist you with docking. The Marina has modern aluminum floating docks configured for a variety of boat lengths, with each slip providing water and 30, 50, and 100 amp power. The old wharfs provide excellent protection in the basin in all weather. There are carts for loading and unloading your boat, and security gates control access to the docks. In front of the yacht club and dealership offices, you will find a patio for boaters with tables and barbecues. The showers, washrooms, and laundry are also located here. On site, you'll also find a restaurant with multiple terraces that offer a great view of the river and the marina. As well as being part of the rebuilt waterfront that makes up the quays of the old port, the marina is just a short walk away from the district of Old Montreal.
Heading further into the old port, it is a short ride through turbulent waters past Clock Tower Quay into the calm harbor, where you'll find Jacques-Cartier Basin and popular transient marina Port descale. On your way in, you may encounter one of the many cruise and tour boats, both large and small, that work out of the quays of the old port, including the Lachine Rapids jet boats. After passing the Jacques-Cartier Quay, you can turn into the basin and head to the check-in docks at Port descale. The marina, situated in the center of the action in the heart of Old Montreal, is dedicated to servicing transient boaters. In 2010, Port descale installed all new modern floating docks and fingers to ensure that they only provide the best for visiting boaters. The marina can handle any size of vessel from 10 to over 250 feet. The docks are outfitted with illuminated pedestals with water and 30 to 400 amp service, so every visiting boat has its electrical requirements met. On the main dock, not only will you find the dockmaster's office, but unique pods with private washrooms, showers, and laundry. The marina is also home to several tour boats that ply the St. Lawrence River daily. For a special evening, you may wish to book a dinner cruise and enjoy the sights of the Montreal skyline by night. Once you are settled into your slip, the only challenge you will face will be what to see and when, starting with attractions like Cirque du Soleil, located right next door under the tent on the Jacques Cartier Quay. When you first step ashore, you are in the heart of the quays of the Old Port. The Old Port is a major redevelopment of the old commercial wharfs and warehouses that took place in the early 90s. The quays of the Old Port stretch for over 2 kilometers along the St. Lawrence River, from the entrance of the historic Lachine Canal to the Clock Tower Basin. It's really only from the air that you can appreciate the scale and value of this waterfront redevelopment, which not only protects the heritage of the port, but also adds a good measure of new attractions and services. The Promenade Walk, as the riverfront is called, offers a place for walking, cycling, rollerblading, and trolley tours throughout the Old Port. On summer weekends, the promenade fills with folks out to enjoy the sights and attractions. The quays of the Old Port really have something for everyone. If you want to just relax, you will find 5 terraces with different foods ranging from Italian and seafood to tapas, all offering views of the river and the city. Circus Promenade continues to be quite popular, with a wide range of professional performers presenting 15 circus acts free during the day. If it is raining, there is also plenty to see and do indoors. The best way to pass the day may be the Science Center. It has many exhibits that are updated annually, as well as an IMAX theater where you can catch some amazing films.
When you've had your fill of fun and entertainment at the quay, Old Montreal beckons from across the park. A great place to start is Montreal's Museum of Archaeology and History on Rue de la Commune that parallels the Old Port. As you walk along Rue de la Commune, the old warehouses still facing the river along here are an interesting mix of architecture and ages. If you want to tour the Old Town, pick up one of the many walking tour guides and strike out on your own. Or better yet, hire one of the many carriages for a tour. In the eastern part of the Old City, near Place Jacques Cartier, you will find such notable buildings as Montreal City Hall. Still further east are Notre Dame de Bon Secours Chapel, with its stunning interior and Bon Secours Market. Once in the Old Town, it becomes quite clear why this destination thrives. History and the passage of time have left a unique mark on every street. Quaint shops of the 1600s blend with 18th century warehouses, which have all been converted to shops, galleries, and unique hotels. The cobblestone lanes, street artists and vendors, Victorian street lamps, and flowers galore win over visitors immediately. If you have the time, there are some definite must-sees in the Old Town, such as the Musée Chateau Ramsay. Another church worth noting is the Notre Dame Basilica, built between 1672 and 1683. Public spaces are numerous, including Place Royale with the custom house in the center of the square, Place de Youville with its obelisk erected in tribute to Montreal's pioneers, and of course Place Jacques Cartier, the center of it all in the Old Town of Montreal. As the sun sets, Montrealers start to come out, and the cafes and streets fill with people entertained by a wide array of street performers and musicians.